Salutations, every pup, and welcome to chapter 26 of Sorry, Wrong Number by ShizunaRey. As always, the link to the fic will be in the description below. And with that out of the way, let's jump on into it. Chapter 26 Best of Wives and Best of Women. Author's Notes. Happy birthday, Vivian! This one's for you! It's like 23:56, but since I promised you the chapter today, I didn't check for consistency errors yet. That's a problem for future Vav. The Avengers conference room still smelled faintly of burnt coffee, and Mark sat stiffly in one of the swivel chairs, arms crossed, pretending he wasn't sitting in just another meeting room. Tony clicked a hologram into existence. Okay, Mooney. Strategy meaning #2. You said the jackal thing is connected to the literal Egyptian gods? We fought worse, Clint added, because of course he did. And Mark pinched the bridge of his nose. I already explained it. Multiple times. Yeah, but you explained it in mysterious desert cryptid, Tony said. We need it in normal human language. Mark inhaled sharply. Don't deck the billionaire! Don't deck the billionaire! Before he could reply, Jarvis's calm voice cut through the room. Sir, there is a woman outside the tower security gate demanding entry. She is claiming to be Mr. Spector's wife. Everything stopped. Mark didn't move. He just stared forward, expression going blank, then slowly turning pink. I'm sorry, he croaked. She's what? Tony blinked. You're married? Mark made a noise that sounded like a dying car engine. Before anyone could interrogate him further, the elevator dinged. Loud footsteps echoed down the hall. And then, Mark Spector, if you think you can just send me a letter and then vanish on international television... Layla stormed into the conference wearing the exact face of someone who's 2 seconds away from homicide. Without calling me! Without texting me! Without even panicky little emoji! She threw her hands in the air. You are insane! Mark shot out of his seat. Layla, wait, I can explain. Oh, you can explain? She snapped. Wonderful, because I had to find out from Al Jazeera that my husband is a most wanted fugitive. And then, when you magically escape custody, what do I get? A letter! A letter delivered by a man who smelled like he traveled straight from Cairo without showering even once, telling me you're sorry and you love me and not to come find you because you have trouble with the Avengers? She jabbed a finger into his chest. As if that would ever work! The Avengers collectively turned their heads like tennis spectators. Tony whispered to Steve, I'm 80% sure we should leave or hide. Mark swallowed. Layla, I didn't want you in danger. Oh, please, she muttered, as if I haven't been in danger since the day I met you. Mark opened his eyes, then his eyes flickered. His shoulders softened, his posture stiffened from cornered mercenary to man caught sneaking cake at 3 a.m. Layla, Stephen said gently, we are so sorry, love. Layla's rage paused for half a second. Stephen, sweetheart. Her tone softened, but only slightly. I don't want to scream at you, so be a darling and get me my husband. Stephen instantly blushed, wringing his fingers. Oh, yes. Right, he's... Sorry, one moment. His eyes rolled, and Mark snapped back. You don't get to choose who I talk to right now, Layla hissed at them. That's not how it works. Oh, trust me, I know exactly how it works. Before Mark could respond, his jaw clenched hard, breath catching in his chest. He slammed a hand on the table, steadying himself, and Jake glared out through his eyes. Basta, Jake growled, accent thick. We are not doing this in front of a brute, in front of people. The room went absolutely silent. The Avengers were watching him like it was the first time they've actually seen him. Them. Layla crossed her arms, not caring in the slightest who or how important their audience was. Hello, Jake. Jake tilted his head in acknowledgement and smirked at her. Senora. Steve stared at Mark, Jake, Steven like he was witnessing a war story unfold. Is this normal? Mark slid back into control with a full body shudder. For us? Yes, he muttered. For you? Probably not. Layla rubbed her temples. Mark, Steven, Jake, whoever is currently driving, we are going to talk about why you were on the news, why you were on the run, and why you thought a Cairo letter was the correct marital response! Mark opened his mouth, exasperated. I thought I was going to never get out of hiding again, he burst out, and I didn't want you to live that kind of life. Layla's anger faltered, just for a breath. Then she stepped forward and grabbed his face between her hands. Mark Spector, she whispered. I am your wife, not your ghost. Behind them, the Avengers collectively melted into their chairs, trying not to interrupt what was clearly a moment. Tony cleared his throat quietly. So, should we reschedule the strategy meeting? Layla didn't look awake from Mark. You tell me, I am with you now. I'm not going nowhere. Mark gave a helpless sigh. No, we, just might need a minute. Or, Stephen's reflection said, piped back faintly, an hour. Or, Jake added, a tequila. Mark rubbed his face, avoiding everyone's eyes. Layla stood with her arms crossed, looking like a storm barely contained, but she let him gather himself without pushing. The silence hung thick. And then, like a student too polite to interrupt but too anxious to stay quiet, Spider-Man raised his hand halfway. Mr. Spector, can I ask something? Mark blinked at him. Sure. The kid practically sounded flushed. Earlier, when you, switched with Stephen and possibly Jake, was that, like, normal? Or should we be worried? Because Tony said maybe it was magical brain scrambling, but I thought it didn't look magical, but... Kid, Tony muttered. Please stop helping. Spider-Man deflated. Sorry, I just wanted to understand. Mark stared at the floor for a long moment. Layla stayed still. She didn't touch him, didn't prompt him, didn't soften the blow. She just watched him with steady eyes that said, your choice. Finally, Mark inhaled simply. It's normal, he said. His voice was steady, not defensive, just tired. Because I have DID, dissociative identity disorder. Every Avenger in the room froze a fraction. Clint lowered his coffee. Tony's eyebrows rose. Natasha's eyes softened almost imperceptibly, and Steve straightened like he had just been handed crucial intel that he hadn't cracked yet. Oh, Spider-Man said. So, Steven and Jake weren't, like, generated by the jackals? No, Mark said. They were always here, since I was a kid. He flicked his gaze to the reflective surface of the conference room table. Steven was there, anxious and supportive, but silent to everyone but him. Jake hovered behind that, quiet and coiled. Mark continued. Look, you only ever hear the one who's fronting. The others stay internal. They talk to me, but not to you. Tony's brain visibly whirred at high speed. So, earlier, when your accent changed... That was Steven, Mark said. Not me. And the guy who glared at all of us like he was planning our funerals? Clint asked. Mark sighed. Jake. Got it, Clint whispered, oddly impressed. Spider-Man hesitated, then asked, Does it hurt? Switching? No, Mark said. It's just disorienting. And stressful if I'm not expecting it. But they're not entities. They're not possessions. They're people. Parts of me. He looked at his hands. My system. Steve nodded slowly, expression respectful now rather than suspicious. Thank you for sharing that, he said sincerely. Tony pointed vaguely at Mark. And, right now we're talking to Mark said. Stephen blinked at him in the reflection. Worried, but steady. Jake folded his arms, but didn't push forward. Layla finally broke her silence. Not to explain for him, but to reaffirm him. He didn't owe you any of that, by the way, she said quietly, but he told you anyway. Tony cleared his throat, looking suddenly deeply uncomfortable with sincerity. Right, so, ground rule. Whoever's fronting is who we're talking to. No assumptions. No treating them like made-up people. Please don't, Mark muttered. Spider-Man's eyes shrank in a way that made it look like he was smiling. So, Stephen and Jake are here, but only you can hear them? Mark nodded. Yeah. Okay, Peter said softly. That's cool. Hi, guys! Something in Mark's posture eased just a little. Tony clapped his hands. Cool. Now that we've established we're dealing with Mark plus 2, and not a demonic possession, we can get back to figuring out how to not die. Mark exhaled, shoulder setting. Yeah, we can. Tony quickly nodded. Right. Egyptian jackal god hybrid thing. What's it doing? Where? And how do we stop it without causing a citywide disaster? Mark exhaled sharply. I think they're hunting for Amit's staff. It shouldn't hold any of her direct power anymore, but it's still an incredibly powerful artifact. Natasha frowned. How do they move? Are we talking predictable patterns? Mark leaned forward, hands on the table. Yes and no. The jackals are fast, smart, and most likely following the traces of anywhere the staff was. Cairo, Rome, New York. Harrow and his cult was practically everywhere. We have no real way to predict them. Spider-Man raised his hand timidly. What's the plan for actually stopping them? Like a team up, or... Mark met his gaze. I'd go for small, surgical strike. Precision over numbers. You guys can't actually see them without painting a whole city block in atrocious colors, so you can leave that to me. Tony leaned forward, smirking. So, you're the brains, we're the brawn. Got it. Mark let out a dry chuckle. Brains and brawn need coordination. You stay on comms. Natasha and Clint take point if extraction gets messy. I'll handle the magic side of things. Natasha raised an eyebrow. Magic side, huh? You've never actually fought alongside us. You're sure this works? Mark shrugged. First time for everything. But this is something we can control. If we stick to the basics, nothing goes sideways. Just try and follow my lead. And, he glanced at Layla, who stood silently watching him with a soft, approving expression. No surprises. Layla smirked, whispering, You've got this. Mark gave a short, tense nod. Yeah, we've got this. Tony waved a hand at the hologram. All right, let's prep teams, run simulations, and maybe even invent a device to track jackal gods, just to be safe. Natasha muttered, Tony, you already have one in your garage. Maybe, he admitted. Maybe not. That's classified, Miss Romanoff. And that's a wrap on chapter 26. Yes, 26. And that's a wrap on chapter 26. This was fun to read. There were some funny moments. Very funny moments. Please go show the original author, ShizunaRey some love. Please leave me a comment. I love reading your comments. They make me so happy. Please leave me specifically hate comments, and I'll shout you out in the next video. Nobody commented last chapter, so no shoutouts to make. All that being said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, pups.